Okay, so well, you might have already gone through this video lesson, right? Okay. So anyway, you will have the copy of that one anyway with you. So I will go through some of those important points again. So this session is basically for you to understand a data communication system. What are the components that usually have it in the data communication system? This is in general, please remember the data communication system. And when you come across the important models or the important reference strategies that are being followed by the computer networks across the internet, the 5 layers reference model, which is basically a subset of the ISO OSA reference model, the 7 layers reference model. And when you consider that particular model, what are the different steps or the layers that are in that layer model, which will help you to transfer the data. And one such particular model which follows those 5 layers reference model, which is basically a TCP/IP model, is the client server model. So that's what the topic of the discussion here. So let us try to understand here. Whenever we try to exchange the data between two different entities or two different devices, so basically we are trying to send and receive the data. So when we say exchanging, means some data transfer is happening between two different entities. When we say entity, it can be simply a device, electronic device. So at one end of the system, you have a sender or a device which is sending certain information, and that particular sending information is basically some data, some information that needs to be sent to the other side of the communication system. So the other side is basically receiver. So these are the two different terms that you need to understand here. One is called as a sender, the other side is called as a receiver. Sometimes at each end you have both sender as well as a receiver. So a device which is acting like both sender and as well as a receiver is basically, that device is called as a transceiver in communication terminology here. Transceiver, transmitting as well as receiving, sending as well as receiving here. So here, can anybody give me a small example for a transceiver where that device is basically helping us to send as well as receive the information? Yes, please.
Home router,
Sorry?
routers which we have in our home for internet.
Okay, you went into the more technical of the router. Yes, very good. Okay. What about a simple device which we use in our day-to-day life? In our daily usage, we use this. Sir, Syed Fahimuddin, he has given on the chat window. Fahimuddin, what happened? You cannot speak out from your place? May I know from which place you are located? My mic doesn't work, sir. Okay, fine, it's fine, Syed Mahmuddin. Your answer is absolutely correct. You are from Hyderabad, very good. So you are very here only, and you said the answer is mobile. Yes. See, today every day we use our mobile phone. We are using our mobile phone. So this mobile phone, whenever you are talking and when you are speaking and whenever you are listening, of course, this same device, this is only one device which is helping us to transmit our voice. Of course, our voice is converted into, our voice signal is converted to the digital form inside this mobile device, and the digital data is again sent to the other side of your another friend mobile device, and of course your friend mobile device also is receiving it, and of course that same device is also meant for you to send the data from that device to your device. So this is very simple example, your mobile phone. Very good, good answers. So good. Now see here, sender as well as a receiver. So you are sending the data and you are trying to receive the data from the other end. So here, another important point you need to understand here is, so here I have written step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Please remember, there are certain steps which have been following certain rules, protocol. Basically, we call it as a protocol. Protocol means whenever you use your mobile phone, your voice, whenever you speak, your voice, that is the signal, basically your analog signal, is converted to digital signal or a digital data. So to convert your analog data to digital data, there are certain steps, and that certain protocol rules will be followed for converting your analog to digital data. So very simple example here. It can be any other example too, but for you to understand, I'm just giving one here, a kind of illustration where you need to understand your data is been converted, or its data is been transformed to another form by following certain rules, and that is been sent from a device to another device, and at the other device, at the other end too, the same reverse process takes place by following certain rules. So in between the transmission, there is something else here. That information which is exchanged is basically called as a message, technically in the communication terminology. And the data or the message that is being exchanged between those devices, it can be either through wired or it can be wireless. Nowadays, wireless technologies are very advanced technologies. Of course, if you see in the olden days, and to some extent in some of those applications or some systems do require wired connection also. There will be a wired connection between those devices, a wired cable, or different types of cables. Of course, again, different technologies are there. So basically, these are the different terms that everybody should understand. Exchange of data between a source and a receiver via a transmission media. Transmission media, basically for wireless, the transmission medium is which medium our data is getting transmitted. If you are using wireless, can anybody tell me the answer?
Electromagnetic radiation.
Electromagnetic waves.
Yes, Sakshi.
Okay, very good. But that electromagnetic waves are also traveling or have been transmitted through your air. Air is the transmission medium here. Of course, through electromagnetic radiations or signals, you can transmit through. So, of course, very good. This is just a simple basic information just I would like to share with you. Now, when you come to web or data communication, web communication here, what do you mean by web here? Can anybody tell me what is a web is? Web means
many different nodes interconnected through some medium.
Okay, many different nodes connected through different medium. It is actually, what is internet then? I'll ask the question in another way. What is internet? Is internet and web both are same? Or both, we can interchangeably use those words? At certain context, yes. At certain points of discussion, no. When I say no means there is certain difference between web and internet. You cannot interchangeably use the word web with internet at certain points of discussion. Why? Because those two things are different meanings. So somebody has given the answer there. Internet is used to access web. Okay, Syed Fahimuddin has given internet is used to access the web. So again, okay. Your answer is more technical and more in-depth reasoning is required for a beginner to understand. I doubt whether a beginner can understand your meaning, but I could understand it. Internet is used to access web. So I will put the question in very simple terms. Now, what is web again? What do you mean by the term web? Yes, please. I have already given the answer here. At least you can read that sentence over there. Web is a collection of interconnected documents and resources. So a web is a collection. It is a repository. A repository of interconnected documents. When I say documents means, what does a document carry? Document consists of basically a document, or it consists of some information that needs to be exchanged. information that needs to be transmitted, information that needs to be understood by both the parties, both the entities, both the systems. And of course, sometimes not only documents, you can also exchange certain other resources. So those is nothing but that basically is constitutes what is web. So basically internet is an interconnection of your entities or nodes. Interconnection, internetwork, that's all. But web is a repository. Please remember, some context they can be used, they can be interchangeably used as a similar terms, meaning. But at some context, no. Why? Because web constitutes a collection of information that needs to be exchanged across the network, whereas internet is only connecting to the network. But that web philosophy is not going to be existing over there. Okay, have you understood the here one small diagram I kept it here, a client and a server. Can you please tell me what did you understand? Anyone? Can anyone just put forward based on my video class and this PowerPoint presentation? Tell me what do you mean by this client and server here? I would like to hear from you.
So what I could make out is, don't mind me be wrong, but like this client and server both act like some sort of transducers or transceivers, and client, transmits a message to the server using a GET request, and the server and vice versa through a PUT request. That's what I've understood.
Your voice is not clear, Joydeep. Some of the words I'm not clear to understand.
Yes, sir. What I'm saying is the client and server both are transceivers, and the client communicates to the server using a GET request, and the server communicates to the client using the PUT request. That's what I understood.
Oh my God! No. Server communicates to the client using PUT request. Don't. That is wrong. You are not correctly understood it. That is incorrect. Very good. Syed Fahimuddin has given client requests the server, and the server responds to the client. Response to the client means server going to serve whatever the request that is made by the client will be served by the server. It's not that server is going to put something to the client. Okay, are you getting the joy there?
Yes, sir.
So basically, here there are two devices or two entities. One device we call it as a client, and other device as a server. Joydeep said that sometimes even the client can be also server. Yes, but provided that the privilege or that features may not be there all the ways. Please remember. So don't make this client and servers to be of transceivers. The transceivers are those devices which are acting like both sending and well as receiving. But here, you can see here, yes, the client is sending as well as it is receiving. You can call it as a transceiver, but most of the time this is receiving for the information that is requested by the entity itself. That's why you don't change the words to client to having a transceiver and server to a transceiver. That is it is not appropriate to use the transceiver word for this web communication, whereas for our digital communication, for our data communication system, you can as well use it, but it will become a subset here for different context. Please remember, it is not always, it is only for certain context or certain conditions only. Okay, now let me just make you more clarity here. So what a client does, what does the client does? Basically, client is a person or is a user, basically a user who is going to request some information or get some information. So like I use a browser here. So you can see there is a browser here. So on the browser, I am just typing something here. What is that? I am just typing uohyd.ac.in. I am requesting certain information from the URL, Uniform Resource Locator. I am entering certain address here. When I enter certain address, I'm seeing something else here. It means I already got some response. The server uohyd.ac.in, there is a server with the name uohyd.ac.in, and the server has served me my request. So once I press the enter, yes, once I press the enter, it went, the request went, and the response also has come very fastly, very fast. Please remember, the server is somewhere, it's not on your computer. And remember, this information what you are seeing is the information that you have received from the server. That information can be images, that information can be simply text. These are the text information. Some informations can be photos, some information can be audio, some information can be video. So video, audio, text, multimedia data, multiple forms of data. So you can see there are so many multiple forms of data can be there that you have received, that information which is present on a server called uohyd.ac.in, which is located at some part of your, some other network, not on your computer. Please remember, at some other place. So here, a client usually makes some request, and obviously the server is going to serve the request or respond to that request. So both, remember, client is at some other place and server is at some other place. But if you see the second diagram, your server is in your local box, in your computer itself. A server is also there. A server means request, the person who is going to serve your request is also available on your own computer there. Please remember it. That server is called as a local host. In your local box means in your laptop or in your desktop. Server is not present in some other place. Please remember. You also have a server. Basically, it is a software program. Please remember, server is basically a software program which is running on that computer. Please remember, a software program itself. That computer is made like a server. Means the computer is given a program, a software program is given to that computer, and that computer is acting like a server to request whatever the requests have been made to that server will be served by that particular computer, which is located at some other place. Sometimes the same software program, the server program, can also reside means it is also made available on your own computer, on your own box, on your own system. So that particular server, if it is running or executing on your own local machine, on your local box or on your local system, that server is basically called as a local host system. And there are different applications or different programs which are running on that local machine will try to fetch some data or get some data or put some data onto that server. Either directly from that particular, the same computer is doing two things here. Client is also running on the same, client process is also running on the same local box, as well as server process is also running on the local box. So two different programs are in execution here. One is a local host server, and another thing is request is also coming from the same computer, but it is present in your hard disk at some other place. It is also a database. It can be a repository where you can fetch some data. You can put some data onto that one. So that is basically a server which is residing on the same computer is called local host server, whereas a server which is residing else at some other location, at some other place, is basically a server itself. Any clarifications on this? Please let me know at this point.
So basically, so what is the difference between the two diagrams that you've shown below? So one is the client server, what do you call, communication, and this just is communication between two servers. I mean, what is the fundamental difference between the two diagrams?
So, the left side diagram, the server is at different place. In the right side diagram, the server is running on the same local box.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's running the same local box, but I mean, isn't it drawing some sort of a parallel between this client-server communication?
Is it drawing something between?
I mean, at the end of the day, both the diagrams similar because both are communicating to some server outside the system.
Yes, the left side is communicating to the outside the system, whereas in the right side it is communicating within the system. It means the client here. The client is trying to communicate to a system that is outside their network or outside the system itself on the left side.
Okay, sir. Okay, fine, sir.
So, sir, basically, client and the server are like processes, and the client process will be connecting to a endpoint, which will be the server process.
Yes, exactly.
In the first diagram, the processes are running in different computers,
Yes.
different
Yes.
workstations.
Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
this one only one server.
Yes.
One laptop.
Yes, but two different processes which are running on the same local box here on the right side.
Yeah.
The left side diagram, one process is running on one computer, another process is running on another computer.
Okay.
One process is called as a client process, the other process is called as a server process. But the server is may or may not be within the vicinity of this computer. It can be in the same network or it can be in the outside of the network. It means if your laptop is within this single room or within your campus, which is connected to the same network, then this other computer or other process which is serving or which is running on another computer can be also sometimes in the same network, or it can be on the other side. Like suppose if you are entering something here, where is uohod.ac.in? This is a computer. You are getting certain information from a computer. What is that you are getting? I want what is the information which is related to University of Hyderabad. Okay. So you are getting some information, but where is this information coming from?
In the university server.
There is a server. That server is located maybe in the university, or maybe in some other in America, or maybe in England, or maybe in Australia. You don't know it actually where it is located.
Yes.
It sometimes it can be in the same network. That's what when I say it is in the same compound, or it can be outside that. But these are two different computers, two different processes running on the respective devices, may or may not be located in the same vicinity. Vicinity means same surroundings. But in the right side, what happens is the client process as well as the server process, both the processes are running on the same local box. Okay, are you getting these points at this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, any other queries, please? Yes, so let us have some more understanding here. When you have a computer network, so this is an interconnection of autonomous computers. When you say computer network, you're connecting two or more computers to share some data or to exchange some data. So when you connect those, obviously a network is a set of devices connected by media links. And sometimes your processes that are running on these computers may have certain connections to be established, or it can be a connectionless. There are two types of services. These are services. Please don't misunderstand with the cable connection. Don't think there is a cable connection between computer A and a computer B. No, these are called the services. Services means programs. When they are the programs which are running on those respective devices or computers. So the programs which are trying to exchange the data between user A and user B here may have certain connection establishment, connection less or connection oriented. There are certain advantages and of course disadvantages for both of them, connectionless and as well as connection oriented. So what is this connectionless and what is this connection oriented? We will come to know when you are discussing with after discussing with the 5 layers reference model, so that you'll understand what is connectionless and connection oriented. So if you look to the literature means for our computer network field, most of the researchers are been discussed with different models, different strategies, a different set of references which are helpful for you to exchange the data. So those models or those references strategies will usually discuss with certain protocols and the services, with certain rules that they follow to exchange the data. So here there is one particular reference model called 7 layers reference model, which is a theoretical one. A theoretical one means it is a logical one. When I say logical, practically you don't see really these 7 layers in practice most of the time. So that is a logical reference model, which people call it as Open Systems Interconnection, OSI. International Standard Organization, ISO, has approved this as an Open Systems Interconnection reference model consisting of 7 layers. Now, what are these 7 layers? Layers means different kind of stages where the information is transformed from one form to another form. So those 7 layers are, if you see the names, the first, the layer name from you, if you see it from the bottom side of this diagram on the stack, the physical layer. Then above the physical layer, we call it as a data link layer. Then above the data link layer, we have a network layer, then transport. Then we have a session layer and a presentation layer. Of course, those session layer and presentation layer I have not mentioned here because we are not discussing much on the computer network's 7 layers reference model. So then above the presentation layer, we have something called as application layer. But from these 7 layers, people have now consider only the 5 layers reference model, which is very in use, which is in practice, and which everybody follows this. Out of the 7 layers, people only follow those 5 layers for at most communication, for their better exchange of data. Those 5 layers, the names are given here: physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, and application layer. So here, these 5 layers are 5 stages where the information or your message usually is being exchanged between 2 different entities or 2 different devices. So here one device is connected either physically means it can be wired or wireless, through wireless medium, whatever it may be. So the physical layer is the most thing which is connected to your hardware of your system, which will help you to transmit the data either through a wireless adapter or through a wired adapter or a network adapter. Here data gets transmitted there. So here at the bottom, you can see there's the physical layer, which is exchanged with another physical layer of the another computer. So don't think this layers means there is really a hardware unit. No, these are just software programs. So this is a stack of software programs. A stack, when I say stack, it is a collection of some software programs which are doing certain process internally in your computer. In the computer, you have a particular model which is everybody follows that particular model. Okay, I'll give the name of that model is basically your TCP IP. Everybody might have heard about this TCP IP. So here TCP IP, here basically you have transmission control protocol, internet protocol. That is the name here, that is the abbreviation is in simple form TCP IP. So this TCP IP model is nothing but your 5 layers reference model. This 5 layers reference model is, the other name for that is TCP IP. Okay, some textbooks will give you only 4 layers, but basically it does the 5 layers function internally. So it basically, technically speaking, 5 layers are the reference models layers for this you to understand the data transfer. So the first layer at the bottom, you'll have physical layer, then you have a data link layer, then followed by the internet layer. Instead of network layer, we call it as an internet layer. Then above the internet layer, we have a transport layer. And finally, the layer which is very near to the user's program interaction is the application layer. So if you see, this is the nomenclature, it is the structure of this 5 layers reference model, and this is the most protocol model, the rules that followed for you to transfer the data from your computer to another computer, which are connected through internet or which are connected by your respective computer networks. So whenever you try to send data from one computer to another computer, or from one mobile phone to another phone, or from one electronic device to another electronic device, some protocols should be followed. And may I know what is the need to follow the protocols? Anybody? Why we need to follow a protocol?
Maybe for reliability of sending the packets.
No, I am just asking in general, you need not send reliability for sending packets or messages or routing the packets and all. I'm asking, okay, I will put the question in very simple term. I am speaking in English language with you. Why I have to speak only in English language? Can anybody tell me?
It's a common language that we all know.
Very good. Good answers. Very good. So it's a common language. If I speak in English, you'll be able to understand easily. And if you speak in English, I can able to understand easily. So a common, this is a common language. That's what the answer itself, it has got a lot of meaning here. So there must be certain common understanding between our two people. Then only we can have a proper communication. Yes or no? If you speak in some language X and if I speak in another language Y, and if you don't understand Y and if I don't understand X, will there be a proper communication? Is that there is a proper communication between you and me? Certainly no, right? So in order to have proper communication, there must be a common understanding between us. That common understanding is, yes, I will say I will communicate through English with you, and you also will communicate through English with me. It implies that both of them are communicating with each other with English language, which is a common language for us to communicate with each other, and it is free. Means, of course, I will not say grammatical. What are the grammatical things that needs to be followed while you are communicating or while you are writing or whatever you are speaking or whatever it may be. So, of course, at this point, in order to have an understanding between ourselves, there must be a common language that is going to be there. The same thing, the common language or the rule, the protocol that follows between two computers to understand. There are two computers. One computer is a client, another computer is a server. It can be both clients or it can be both servers. They are connected across the network. Across the network means they are connected over the computer internet or computer networks. And when they want to exchange, get the information and put the information, respond to them, both needs to communicate properly. And the common rule, common protocol suite, the common protocol suite means basically a collection of those rules which are put together. Is that particular protocol suite is the TCP/IP. TCP/IP. Of course, you will learn more things on this TCP/IP when you are studying the course computer networks. Here at this point, I'm just trying to give you certain basic informations that will be helpful for us to go about for our course. So of course, I'm not dealing. If you have to discuss TCP/IP, we'll be only discussing TCP/IP for another 2 to 3 weeks. So that it includes all the details about the transport layer, the internet layer, and what internally it does and all. But for you, just keep an idea, and you'll learn more things on your running the computer networks. So now, okay, so the common understanding between the two devices which are connected over the internet can have communication if they follow a common rule. That common rule is TCP/IP protocol. That TCP/IP, transmission control protocol and internet protocol. So what is this transmission control protocol? Basically the transmission control, transmission, whether it can be connectionless or it can be connection oriented transmission. If you want to have a reliable data, connection oriented. If you don't want to have a reliable data, connectionless. Can you tell me what type of data can be connectionless or can be connection oriented? Or in other terms, what type of data that should be reliable and what type of data transmission that doesn't require reliability? Yes, please.
Something like bank account purchases. Those are very like bank.
Yes,
like if you want to send money or
yes, when you do some banking transactions.
Banking transactions.
When you do some banking transactions, you send your username and password to a computer that is a server of the bank, and the bank server will check for the authentication of the user's credentials, and the bank server will give you certain information about what is the available balance and what are the other things that are required. So the banking transactions, that the data that is getting exchanged between these two devices requires a reliable means there must not be any problem in the data transfer. That reliability is very much required here. Now tell me the example for a data transfer where reliability is not that much important for us. Reliability.
Maybe a meeting application like this where
Yeah,
where
text.
even if one frame misses, like there will be no problem.
Yes, like multimedia data, or if you suppose you are browsing a movie, video movie on over the internet or through YouTube, and if your internet connection is not proper, in the sense that it is intermittent and it is sometimes disconnects, or sometimes your internet bandwidth is not sufficient for you to view your video frames and listen to the voice properly. Sometimes you may hear or you may see those disturbances. So those connections can be unreliable. It means you doesn't care. Even if your video frame, one frame is not coming properly, or you cannot hear voice properly, it doesn't care. Means it does not that much importance for us. So that data transfer of video data, like movies or music, those data transfers doesn't require any reliable data transfers. So here, because if you want to have a banking transaction, you require connection oriented. If you are going to just simply browse videos and movies, or video datas or audio datas or different multimedia data where that much of security or that much of importance is not required, you can have connection less. Connection is not going to be there. That is virtually, logically, internally the processors will take care of how the packets can be delivered there. Please remember at this point. So here, I will tell you here. Now, can you tell me what type of examples for different servers? Because all these topics, actually, everybody knows it. You also know it. Even if I don't tell also, you know it very well nowadays. Can you give some examples of various servers? Here, servers. Because you are in the client server model, please tell me what are the examples of different servers.
Web server, mail server.
Who is giving this answer? One by one, not only very few. I am hearing Joydeep, Meher Chaitanya, and Fahiuddin. Okay, 4 or 5 people are only giving. What about others? Please respond. I want to hear from others. Give me so many examples you can give, like servers. Server means, see here, everybody uses Gmail or Yahoo Mail or any mail. So from your computer, from your laptop browser, you may request, you get the information from the mail servers. You want to see what are all the mails that you have received in your account. So you require a mail server. And sometimes like uhyd.ac.in, what is the university's information? University's information, our university information is present on a server. So that server is basically a web server. Web is nothing but a collection of, what did I say? What is meant by web?
Collection of
documents.
documents and resources.
Yes, collection of documents and resources. So our university's information is present on a computer there. That is a web. And that system which is serving our requested information is basically a web server. So not only uhod.ac.in, if you want to have any university or government websites or any commercial organizations or any other websites, all those information are present in the web servers. So mail servers, if you want to see the mail server, means if you want to see your mails in your accounts or the inboxes, you may have to connect to your mail server. Suppose you want to listen to music. So there can be a server who can just give you some musics. Can you tell me, name some of those music servers?
Maybe like streaming servers.
No, tell me name. I don't want that streaming server. What is that name of that server where you can hear some music? Yes, please. Nowadays you can. Yes, very good. Nowadays latest things are coming out. Very good. So music. Sometimes, yes, please.
Moodle server.
Sorry?
Our Moodle server.
Moodle server doesn't give you music.
No, sir. Documents and
our documents, very good. Our Moodle server, very good answer. So our Moodle server has got a collection of all your courses information is present on that Moodle server, and you are able to retrieve that. You are sitting at different corners of the country and different corners of the world, and you are able to retrieve those things. So Moodle server is also a web server basically. So like these servers, server means a particular system. You got a program where it's going to give you certain informations which it has. Remember. So music servers, email servers. You see YouTube. YouTube is also where a lot of videos are present there. Not only YouTube, video servers are there, web servers are there, database servers are there. So like these servers are of different types, different natures, different kinds of servers are there. And we are sitting on just one laptop and you are trying to get informations from various servers for various purposes. And all this communication, please remember, is happening through following certain protocol. If they don't follow certain protocol, you cannot receive that information properly. And that protocol is basically your TCP, which is a connection oriented. And connectionless is basically your UDP. Okay, of course, I don't want to dwell upon into the basic internal details of the computer network at this point, but have this basic understanding. That is basic understanding is enough here. I have given here what is TCP in short. I have given here. Please go through this. And what is IP Internet Protocol? What is IPv4 and IPv6? I have given what is this. Please go through my materials. And if you are having any doubts, you can further ask me also. No problem. I'll try to respond to you quickly. So here, please remember one particular model which is very been followed here is a client-server model. Client is one particular program or one device which will try to request certain information present on another computer or on another device, and the server is a person who is trying to give the services for the requests that are made by different clients. So client queries means ask, make some request, and the server responds to those queries or requests that are coming from various clients. And this data exchange of data, the querying and getting the responses, the communication is being carried out here, the web communication, please remember. So the client interacts with the server through transport layer, TCP. In the TCP, you have a transmission control protocol that has been followed by those transport layer of your 5 layers model. So it will interact with this transport layer and sends queries or commands, and server answers those queries received from clients, executes the commands from the clients. So what some commands or queries which are coming from clients can be executed on this, and the corresponding responses are going to be given here. So examples, just now I told you the server can be a mail server through what you are seeing, the email. It can be World Wide Web. The web, basically the web is a collection of documents. So those documents are present in the server. www protocol is being followed to collect that information and give it to you. So like this, the client server interact with service providers. Both client and the server must speak the same language. So what is the same language that both of them are speaking? The client and server both, what language do they speak?
TCP/IP.
TCP/IP, absolutely correct. Good answer. Very good. So here, now we are coming to in this TCP/IP model, we have certain, in this TCP/IP model, something called as application layer, the topmost layer, the application. Application means so many programs that are being used for different purposes by different users. And that application layer is going to be taking care of that, which is trying to interact with the users here. So this application level protocols, here application level protocols. So some rules has to be followed whenever the user interacts with the computers, and the computers try to fetch the data which is available across that network and also and so forth. So those application level protocols, there's nothing but set of, what are that application level protocols? They are a set of syntactical and semantical rules. So what do you mean by syntax? Please tell me.
Grammar.
Yes, please.
The grammar.
Grammar, very good. The grammar or the rules. See, whenever you write some English sentences, and you have to write it with proper grammar, yes or no? So every language, because English is a language, of course, it is meant for our communication either for writing or reading or speaking and all. So usually, even if you have your mother tongue, the mother tongue, every language has certain grammar. Grammar means certain rules has to be followed. If you don't follow the rules, obviously you don't have proper communication. You will not have proper communication, and through misunderstanding, it can go to any drastic situations. So please remember that particular point. So anything that language which is been used for your communication should follow certain rules. So similarly, this application level protocols has got a set of syntactical nothing but set of rules, and some semantic, the meanings which are given to those syntactical rules. So both the syntax, the structure, the way you try to interact with those applications, and the meanings of that particular syntactical rules defines the message exchange between the client and the server in their particular order of receiving. So the points which I've taken is from this book only, the first edition, of course. You can always download that book and you can read more and more, of course. If you start understand, if you only look for this TCP/IP, it will take a very long time. But don't worry, it is not that much everything. The minimum things that are required for you, I have already given here, and you can further read that the chapter which I have given the numbers there, chapter numbers, and you this book only, just I'm talking about. So the slides, the figures are also from this only, what I am taken from here. So you can see this complete meaning is there here, the application layer, the principles, the queries, and the responses that comes here. Read this properly, the paragraphs, you will understand it more clearly here, and I'll come back to that in the later stage. Yeah, any queries here, please, at this point?
No, sir, it's clear.
Please let me know if you have any queries. Otherwise, I will move on to the next topic, HTTP. After that, I will give the exercises for you to do in the lab, and as well as for the next lab you to come prepare once the HTTP is completed here. Yes, please let me know. If you have any doubts, please put forward. Yes, please. So with this small introduction on this client-server model, let us go with a different set of application layer protocols which this client-server model do supports. So basically, client-server model is which is following TCP/IP internally. That is nothing other than that, nothing else. TCP/IP client-server model. Now you may have some curiosity. If it is a client-server model, what are the other models? Can anybody tell me what are the other models which you have already been aware of? I think most of you are aware of
peer-to-peer connection.
Very good, Mehat Chaitanya, peer-to-peer modeling. Yes. Because I'll tell you where peer-to-peer some of you might have used. When you are simply downloading the files which are available on your peer-to-peer network, in the sense that you may be using BitTorrents and other set of file locations where you are simply downloading the softwares or you're downloading the materials. Please remember, those files are not there on the server. No, those files are there on a system, that's all. That is not a server basically. It is there on a system. A server is a person who is going to serve your request. But a person who is there who cannot serve your request, but you try to pull the data from those systems. You try to grab the data. That particular systems, basically they are peer-to-peer and they follow a distributed nature of trying to share the data across the networks. So that peer-to-peer, we will discuss it in the later stage. I will not much discuss at this point, since only for you, if you have some doubt, then I thought I will try to just make an intuition on what to be understood here. So good. Now let us move to the one protocol the protocol which protocol name is HTTP, which is basically the HTTP is so if you see here, there are certain protocols which the application layer, I have written the names of the protocols here on my screen. Is my screen visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if you see the application layer, which is on the topmost layer of the TCP/IP suite, you see the topmost layer, and that layer is having certain protocols, certain rules to be followed. One such protocol is HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Another one is File Transfer Protocol. Another one is just Telnetting. Another is simple mail transfer protocol. And the domain name systems. Like this, there are different protocols, strategies which this application layer should take care of for you to have proper communication. Basically, what all these do, all these strategies are nothing but communicating. Communication is what is happening between two or more systems. Ultimately, data is getting, see what is happening in the internet, all your data is moving around. Please remember, data is getting transferred. You are not moving, but your data is moving. Please remember, and you are playing with the data. How do you play with the data is what all these strategies all about. They are all smart enough to have data to be transferred from one system to another systems. Ultimately, what is being moving around the internet? Data. Data in terms of packets, in terms of bits, in terms of bytes, in terms so messages, exchanges. Data that belongs to different types of data. It can be audio data, it can be video data, it can be a graphics data, it can be a simple text data, it can be any other controlling data or some other form of data which needs to be communicated between two devices. So we have to understand there are certain protocols of this application layer which will be always useful for you to communicate the data through the web, through your internet. So that protocols is what the first unit is all about. And as per the syllabus, you need to understand. I just know, I think, to open the syllabus. Where is the syllabus sheet? Yeah. So here the syllabus is what all about this first unit. If you see internet technology syllabus, the first unit is the application layer protocols. You will study these protocols, all this, and of course you'll also understand what is meant by peer-to-peer. So these are peer-to-peer is there, as well as all this comes under client server. Basically what up to here is going to be client server. The next paradigm where the communication happens is on the peer-to-peer, which is follows some BitTorrent and distributed hash tables for this. So this is what, yes please.
In that client server and peer-to-peer, is PubSub part of that or separate from this?
Which one? Which is
the PubSub, publish and subscribe method.
Publish and subscribe is also a client's kind of client server model only.
Okay.
Publish and subscribe is just another form of data to communicate between the devices or between the two entities.
Okay, sir.
So let me go through this. The first protocol of the application layer is what is now having to be called as Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So both the materials are there here. I have put this slides as well as the video lesson. So I give time for you for 20 minutes. Now the time is 12:05. So I give time up to 12:25. Please go through this material first. First read this. Of course, the same material is from the same textbook only for HTTP also. First go through the slides one by one and followed by the video lesson, or you can go through a video lesson directly. First go through a video lesson and come to the slides, and I will again explain to you what is this HTTP and what you have to do the exercises after that. Am I clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So first go through the video lesson of HTTP and we'll have a discussion of after 20 minutes.